Guys, I am very, very happy because after a couple phone calls from Donald Trump,
therefore, the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress.
Directly after the 119th Congress just got sworn in, it just started snowing in D.C. People are interpreting this as a sign from God that he's washing D.C. clean. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm going to show you guys some clips from the speech that Mike Johnson gave. Now, am I the biggest Mike Johnson fan in the world? No, but he's doing a job and he's fulfilling a role that needs to be fulfilled. He is loyal to Trump because after the phone calls Trump made, it is abundantly clear to him and to everyone that Trump is the reason he has his job and position, and that means he's going to be loyal to him. And our work is just beginning. Guys, we have a lot of opposition, not that they can do much, but there are many governors and elected officials in blue states and blue cities that have said that they will actively resist and not cooperate with various agendas that Trump is going to enact. And so it's important to have people loyal to Trump so that we can appropriately dismantle, arrest, remove, and other things to these people that would commit treason against the government. So this is really, really important. It also, of course, it is the first actual expression of the shift in power. Mike Johnson picking up the gavel is incredibly important. Also, there's a lot of great clips going on. Kamala Harris had to swear in the new congressman, and they were all basically leering at her, just laughing. And Vance in the background was caught laughing and like scoffing at her with one of the other congressmen as she was swearing them in. So it was really great. I don't know why Vance was there. Probably some sort of formality or something. But just so you guys know that it is Trump who is behind Mike Johnson being elected, because I know a lot of people aren't really big Mike Johnson fans. This is breaking news. Congressman Keith Self, a congressman you have never heard of, I've never heard of, who switched his vote at the last minute for Speaker Johnson, issued statement for why he did it. My sole focus was advancing the Trump agenda. To ensure this, I expressed concerns to Speaker Johnson about fiscal responsibility and holding the line on deficit spending, key priorities for my constituents. After receiving firm assurances from the Speaker that Republicans in the House will have strong representation during the budget reconciliation process, a cornerstone of President Trump's agenda, I changed my initial vote. I appreciate Speaker Johnson addressing these critical issues. Now, we also have actual video footage. Let me see if I can find that for you of Chip Roy, congressman from Texas, getting a phone call in the middle of the proceedings that he had to take. Yeah, here's the video, found it. He got this phone call, which, look, there's not many phone calls that a congressman has to take in the middle of his job. I mean, he's probably not even going to do that for like a billionaire, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty much one man. There's very few men that this would be possible for. And he took the call. You know what I'm saying? So we all know what's up. We know exactly what's going on here. Let's listen to some of the remarks being given by Mike Johnson about what this momentous power shift signifies. And keep in mind, we still even this is nothing compared to the best day that we're going to witness on January 20th. This is nothing compared to that.
We will act quickly, and we will start by defending our nation's borders. That's the number one priority. Yes.
I will say it's very crazy that one side just openly is against defending our nation's border, and the other side is basically trying to defend America. The left operated for years openly importing illegals and gaslighting the American populace. To me, obviously the illegals are it's offensive because it destroys America, but what's mostly offensive is the fact that they would gaslight us and say there's nothing wrong with the border. That's very offensive.
In coordination with President Trump, this Congress will give our border and immigration enforcement agents the resources that they need to do their job.
Especially with all the terrible things we've seen, like the woman being burned alive on the subway. That's just, the Biden administration has blood on their hands, and we need to write the history books.
We will secure the border. We will deport dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens, and finally finish building the border wall.
So he's laying forward his agenda here. So, and also the Democrats have to sit through this, which is really great. Here's another clip.
We'll give relief to Americans, and we'll extend the Trump tax cuts.
Democrats famously want to pay more of other people's money to the government so they can send it to Ukraine. That's going to end.
And as heirs to the American Revolution and the descendants of patriots who defied tyranny, in the coming months, we are going to pass legislation to roll back the totalitarian fourth branch of government known as the administrative state.
There it is.
We're going to drastically...
And also look at the Democrats not standing up for that. So you can argue this two ways if you were to be generous to them, which why would you be, right? But I'll put both arguments forward. You could say they're either not in favor of that, which would be the worst option, because who's not in favor of less bureaucracy? Any person that is in favor of bureaucracy is self-evidently unserious and not a thinking person and not on the side of the Americans, which is what these people should be, at least in terms of an appearance, even if they're trying to lie, right? You'd want to have the appearance of trying to take the side of the American people. The American people don't like bureaucracy. The other side, which would be the generous perspective, is that they're just not standing up because the person saying the words is the wrong type of person. But the problem with that is that it actually is not generous, despite the fact that the left thinks it is, because that is deeply evil. And that is what's happening here. The words he's saying are good, but the type of person that he is wrong and bad, and therefore we cannot take their side, because leftists don't believe in ideas, they believe in identitarianism. And we're going to see a lot of this as we make America great again, involuntarily, against the will of the left, because they will fight us on every turn and every step of the way, because they have ultimate resentment for that which America symbolizes and embodies. They will actually resent America being made better. They will resent your life getting easier. And it's important to remember that every single time something goes well, it is because we defeated the left as they drag their fingernails across the chalkboard, trying to slow it down, prevent it, and pervert it. You see a microcosm of that here. Not only are these people not serving you or the people that they represent, they are serving only a cult, adherence to the idea of a cult. We're not going to stand up even when he's saying something good. He just said we're going to eliminate bureaucracy.
We're going to drastically cut back the size and scope of government. We're going to return the power back to the people.
Like, that's self-evidently good. Of course, because Democrats are weak and driven by resentment, they want more power over your life because they can't convince you using ideas. And I don't know what year exactly this started to become a thing. I think that it's obviously been transparently this way probably since 2010. And I think also that given political resentment going back hundreds of years, Marxism has always desired to force people to engage in the power disparities that Marxism insists govern everything univariably. In other words, if they can get people to dispense with making sense of ideas or dispense with debate, dispense with free speech dialogue, and not use logic or reason, then they get people to play their game rather than the game of reality, truth, morality, etc.
And in coordination with President Trump and his administration, we are going to create a leaner, faster, and more efficient federal workforce. We need to do that.
Right. Also, Elon's going to have a big role to play with that.
Our people do not deserve to be ruled by millions of bureaucrats they've never voted for, never met, and can never hold accountable.
Correct. Not being able to hold them accountable is a really big part of that, because if somebody does something immoral, evil, to destroy people out of resentment or an ideology, you have to be able to hold them accountable. You know, we see this with the atrocities that happen. With the terrorist attacks that have been committed, or let's say, you know, the murder that took out the CEO, we know he's going to face consequences, even though what he did was terrible. We can hold him to justice, and we can post pictures of him going to jail in a concrete box for the rest of his life. But with a lot of these bureaucrats saying, oh, you need to be 6 feet apart, and you can't see your grandma in a nursing home, what are you going to do? You don't even know their name. That's why this is so crucial and important. Because you don't want decisions being made by the government. You want decisions being made by a free populace.
They deserve a government that is led by those they've elected to lead. That is how Article 1 is supposed to work. That was the idea of the Congress, and we will return to that principle. The American people have called on...
People can't underestimate how severely our country was on the brink.
...us to reject business as usual and throw out the status quo. We must and we will heed their call.
This one's a really important clip.
Too long, the Washington establishment has sought to appease and accommodate our nation's adversaries. They've tried to replace our military warriors with social justice warriors. It does not work.
Right, because they believe, again, their ideology is the arbiter of reality itself, and that there is no such thing as existence outside of their cult. And if anyone tries to operate as if they are independent of the left-wing cult, then they are slandered and labeled a bad person. And this is how the left is definitionally psychopathic as well as narcissistic, believing themselves to be above truth and above everyone else, superior to everybody.
Work. And while we're still the most powerful fighting force in the history of the world, by God's grace, the same establishment has eroded the capacities of our Army and Navy and diminished the readiness of our Air Force.
Again, with bureaucracy, and the people on the Sean Ryan podcast talk about that all the time.
We have to put an end to this madness. My friends and my...
It's really disgusting to see how many people in Congress are not in favor of doing self-evidently good things, and these Congress people are just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of bureaucrats that are trying to sabotage American interests and wake up every single day in resentment to those who love freedom, those who love free speech, people that employ logic, reason, rationality, morality, and really they live in resentment to those who serve a higher good, because that serving of a higher good reminds them of how deeply they're broken and wrong, and that is a positive feedback loop creating more resentment within their hearts.
Colleagues, I think we should all unite in this idea. It is time now to reinstate fear in our enemies,
Yes.
refocus our mission on lethality,
Yes.
and realign our commitment to peace through strength.
Self-evidently good, and that is absolutely correct. But this is obviously a very masculine message, and masculinity, as it is a reflection and embodiment, sophisticatedly so, of reality itself, objectivity, it is offensive to the left, because masculinity is demonized in all the subcomponents of the left-wing cult, including feminism. So all the left has to do to listen to this is just hear that these terms are masculine and then slander it. They're very unthinking, they're uncalculated, whereas we, through our practiced engagement in ideas using logic and reason, are able to understand ideas deeply.
Right now.
Democrats are heavily panicking right now, worried that we're going to cut Social Security and Medicare, and they're making a lot of empty threats and statements here. It's pretty funny.
At the same period of time, we will push back against far-right extremism.
You have no power because you were repudiated by the American populace in historical margins, and you're still using the term far right. Let's see how that goes for you.
Social Security and Medicare.
Let me be clear. Your words are completely empty. This means nothing. We can pass literally whatever we want. We have 220. Let me show you. We have 220 Republican Congress people. You have 212. We can pass anything we want with such enormous margins. It's ridiculous. You have less power than a manager at Burger King. It doesn't end there, though, folks. The left is having a very difficult time with things. Kamala Harris messes up the Pledge of Allegiance.
Join me in...
This is the vice president, by the way. This is how unserious the left is. They only obsess over identity. They're identitarian. It doesn't matter that she's incompetent, that she can't recite the Pledge of Allegiance, that her IQ is low. It doesn't matter. She's a black woman, therefore she's good automatically, and we should have more of her cackles. It doesn't matter she can't recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledging allegiance to our flag.
This is going to be so brutal.
Allegiance to the United States of America and to...
Did you hear that?
To the United...
Bro, she tried to start it by saying...
To the United States of...
She tried to say United States instead of flag at the start. She couldn't even get one line in, and she messed up the Pledge of Allegiance. This is who this is who the left is, bro. Oh no. She couldn't even get I pledge allegiance to the flag out of her mouth, dude. Leftists are still trying to recover from the fact that they've been completely obliterated. That the American populace has said they're incompetent freaks and frauds.
Pursuant to the 20th Amendment of the Constitution, the chair declares the second session of the 118th Congress adjourned sine die.
It really is incredible that snow started to come down right as the 19th Congress was assembling. That's really cool. That's really cool. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more leftist tears breaking down. They're going to try to play the victimhood card because it's all they have. It's the only thing they've practiced. They've long since sacrificed their ability to think and access their sanity through logic and reason on the altar of their left-wing resentment and cult membership. Similarly, keep in mind that it is that which we refuted totally and historically on November 6th. So when a leftist tries to play the victim, alleging that we're going to do terrible things when in fact everything we're doing is good, remind them that their inversion of reality is counterfeit and they were rejected as frauds. Because America's not playing this identitarian game of victimhood anymore. It's time to make America great again. I appreciate all of you watching, dude. Leave your thoughts in the comments and help spread this video to people who would be interested in seeing it. I'm going to try to do more videos where I cover breaking news through the philosophical lens that I like to bring forward, given my understanding of psychology and philosophy. So I appreciate all of you. If you want to support what we're doing, since YouTube has demonetized us, go to abrahambier.locals.com, link in description, and become a member for less than the price of a coffee. Appreciate all of you. See you tomorrow.